60 First Avenue, 60 First Avenue. See the complaint to apartment 18, C like in Charlie. 18, C 10. 10 for any 5 precinct unit that is still engaged for silent. Holding run at
I've made a lot of split-second decisions in the last 6 years, some good, some that haunt me, but none like Crandall Road. It started just after 2:40 a.m. on a Wednesday. I was halfway through my shift, parked behind the Whataburger near I-35, when the triple dispatch call came in. Domestic disturbance, followed immediately by shots fired, and then possible child abduction. 3 separate 911 calls. Same general address. The kind of overlapping chaos that makes your stomach turn before you even hit the gas. When I pulled onto Crandall Road, my headlights caught something I'll never forget, just stillness. No crowd, no one running, just silence, like the street itself was holding its breath. 2 other units were already there. My partner Jenna was out of her cruiser, vest half-zipped, jogging toward the cluster of houses where the calls originated. 3 houses, side by side. House number 1. Dim porch light on, front door cracked open, a woman sobbing behind it. House number 2, dark windows, chain link fence, padlock busted open on the gate. House number 3, garage light stuttering on and off, like a dying firefly. No numbers, no mailbox labels, just broken siding and busted screens. Every neighbor outside was panicking, pointing a different direction. Guy in a hoodie dragged something into the garage, one man barked, shirtless and barefoot. The woman's gone crazy, a neighbor shouted, jabbing a finger at house number 1. She was screaming about her kid being taken. Our radios were a mess, cross-chatter, cutouts. No confirmation from dispatch which call came from which house. We had to guess. Jenna looked at me, eyes wide behind her glasses. Which one do we hit first? My mouth went dry. Something about that flickering garage light felt wrong. Too quiet. Controlled. I'll take house 3. You and Morris check the first, I said. She hesitated, but nodded. We split. I drew my Glock and kept it down, moving fast along the cracked sidewalk toward the 3rd house. The garage was attached but not accessible from the front. The overhead door was down, but a side door hung open, just barely. Inside, clutter, buckets, tarp, stacked bins. The smell hit me in the chest, bleach. Heavy. Sharp. I circled the side of the house, cutting through the grass, flashlight bouncing. Back door unlocked. I stepped inside. Silence. The kitchen was a mess, takeout boxes, roaches, and the smell of ammonia layered beneath mildew. No movement. The walls were covered in little notes, all written in thick Sharpie. Don't listen, stay clean. They watched through glass. Living room was trashed. Couch ripped open. TV knocked over. On the floor, a photo frame face down. I picked it up. Man in fatigues, arm wrapped around a little girl with big curls and a pink backpack. I heard a crackle in my earpiece. Jenna's voice, full of static. She's unarmed. Just throwing dishes. No child in sight. Looks like a site call. Copy. My grip on the flashlight tightened. Something wasn't right. The house I was in, it felt too sterilized. Empty but methodical. Like someone had cleaned up with intent, not panic. That's when I heard the scream. Not from this house. From next door. I bolted. Back out the door. Over the fence. Jenna and Morris were in front of house 2, weapons drawn. We could all hear it now. A kid sobbing. Something slamming. A man yelling, loud and cracked. Phrases we couldn't make out. Garage was clean. I choked. But it doesn't add up. Morris kicked in the front door. I followed. The stench hit us instantly. Sweat, piss, something metallic. It was hot. Too hot. All the windows sealed shut with aluminum foil. We pushed through trash, overturned furniture, into the hallway. Then I saw her. A little girl. Curled up inside a metal dog crate in the corner of a back room. Duct tape across the corners. Blankets over the top. Like someone was trying to hide her. Her face was swollen. Lips cracked. She wasn't moving. The man, mid-50s, white, wiry, eyes blown wide, was standing in the middle of the room in stained boxer shorts, ranting about cleansing nanobots and how the girl had been implanted. He didn't flinch when we screamed at him to get down. Just laughed. Called us vessels. I opened the crate. She was burning up, skin like fire. Pulse thready. Jenna dropped to her knees and started CPR. I watched her hands press into that tiny chest. Again and again. The ambulance took 6 minutes. She never woke up. Her name was Mariela Gutierrez. 6 years old. Her mother OD'd 7 months ago in Waco. CPS placed her with her only known relative, her uncle. The same man who locked her in that crate. Said he was detoxing her. There had been one welfare check. No follow-up. The woman in house number 1? A neighbor. Heard screaming. Called 911. Didn't even know the man. The domestic disturbance was her trying to break into his house to help the girl. No one listened to her. And me? I went into the wrong house. 2 days later, I sat in front of a department psychologist. They said I followed protocol. That with the info I had, my decision was sound. I didn't say anything. What I wanted to say was, I knew. I knew when I saw that photo on the floor. When I smelled the bleach. When I read the writing on the wall. I knew something was wrong. But I still left. I still chose the wrong door. Sometimes I dream that I stay. That I push further, find the hidden door, the back room, the truth. In my dream, she's alive. I carry her out in my arms. She wraps herself around me like a koala and won't let go. But then I wake up, and I see the real ending. The body bag. The uncle screaming Bible verses from a padded van. The sound of a mother wailing when she saw her daughter's name on the news. And worse than all of it, the garage I cleared? Still clean. Still quiet. No blood. No screams. No sign I was ever there. Just one bad call. And a door I didn't open. When I joined the force, they warned us about the kinds of trauma you can expect. First dead body, child calls, suicide by cop. The usual bullet points at the academy seminars. But no one warned me about what happens inside the building. About the way some precincts get quiet in certain places. How the walls sometimes feel intentional. I was 6 weeks out of FTO, fully solo, still shiny. Precinct 9, Austin PD, busy enough to see action, but not bad enough to wear you down. I'd been pulling graveyards for a week straight, mostly just noise complaints, drunk kids outside, 24-hour taco joints, routine welfare checks. Nothing out of the ordinary, until I met the guy in holding. His name was Devin Hicks. Picked up for a bar fight. Big dude. Face bruised, calm demeanor. Unshaven. I was processing his intake when he looked at me and said, casual as hell, "Y'all still using the echo room?" I paused. The what? He smiled. You know, that little closet near the basement stairwell. Room with the weird lights. I blinked. We don't have a room like that. His smile got wider. Sure you do. I was in there last year. For hours. Never heard silence like that before. Not once. I chalked it up to drunk talk. But the name stuck with me. Echo room. The next night, I asked Officer Mendez, 10-year veteran, solid guy, never shook by anything. Hey Mendez, you ever hear someone mention an echo room here? He was sipping coffee, leaned against his cruiser. He didn't even look at me. Just said, "Don't worry about that shit," and walked off. Which, of course, made me worry. A few days later, I had a reason to go downstairs, had to grab an evidence bag from records. On the way back up, I noticed a plain metal door tucked behind a row of decommissioned lockers. No nameplate, just a keypad and a smudged fingerprint reader. Looked almost like storage. I don't know why, but I knocked. Nothing. I pressed my ear to it. Silence. But it wasn't normal silence. It was compressed. Like every sound had been sucked out. Like the door was vacuum sealed. That's when I noticed a post-it note crumpled on the floor, half stuck to my boot. It just said, "Don't open from inside." 2 weeks later, I booked another suspect. Petty theft. Nothing major. While I was doing his intake, he wouldn't stop looking over his shoulder. "What's wrong with you?" I asked. He shook his head. "I don't want to go back in that little room. The one that hums." I asked what he meant. He said, "You know? The one with the light that blinks even when it's off. Where they make you sit in the dark and admit things." He didn't say interrogate. He said make you admit. I brought it up to Lieutenant Harris. Figured it was worth flagging. He got real still. Then said, "Probationary officers aren't cleared for that wing yet." I wasn't even asking to go in. I just wanted to know what the hell it was. Then it was my turn. It was supposed to be a joke. That's what they said afterward. I was coming off a 12-hour shift, exhausted, ready to clock out. Mendez waved me over and said, "You're not a real officer until you do your time in the echo room." I thought he meant like hazing. Whatever. Harmless. They led me downstairs. Harris was already down there. He typed in a code I didn't see. The door hissed open. The room was maybe 8 by 8. Bare metal walls. No chairs. No camera. Just a vent and a single light strip above. 2 minutes, Harris said. Just to see how you handle isolation. I stepped in. The door shut. No sound. Not even my own breathing. That's the first thing I noticed. It was like the room absorbed it. No echo, no feedback, just null. Then the light flickered. Then it went out. The vent started humming. Then the pitch changed. And I don't mean the usual air duct hum. This was designed. It rose and dipped in patterns. Like music with no melody. Like Morse code whispered into your skull. I tried knocking. No answer. I started counting out loud just to hear something. I got to 43 before the pitch hit this frequency that made my teeth vibrate. I screamed, and nothing came back. No bounce. No walls. Just me. Just the tone. I don't know how long I was in there. When the door opened, I was on the floor, knees scraped, throat raw. My fingernails had left half moons in the metal wall. Mendez laughed. 12 minutes. Not bad. Harris smiled, but there was no humor in it. Good data point. I tried to report it. I typed it all up. Filed it under internal misuse of facilities. Sent it to internal affairs. 3 hours later, my inbox showed access denied on my own file. My shift assignments changed. I got pulled from street duty and rotated into admin work. When I asked why, Sergeant Kincaid just said, "Sometimes you see too much too fast. Happens to the bright ones." Since then, I've started noticing things. Certain names vanish from our arrest logs after they're processed downstairs. Certain suspects who refuse to confess suddenly plead out without a lawyer. The echo room doesn't show up on the precinct floor plan. The hum from that vent? Sometimes I hear it on the second floor. At first, I thought I was paranoid. Maybe I am. But then I started getting notes. Folded, handwritten, no envelope. Slipped into my locker, my car seat, even the sleeve of my vest. They used it on me too. You're not crazy. Don't let them know you remember. Last week, I caught Mendez alone in the locker room and said, "Why do we have that room? Why are we using it?" He didn't blink. Just said, "Because it works." Then he left. I haven't slept right in 5 nights. My ears ring every time I sit in silence. And sometimes, when I close my eyes, I see the walls again, featureless, gray, breathing. And I know someone else is in there now. I know because the last note I got said, "She's in the echo room. 3 hours. Still won't break." It was signed with an X. I keep telling myself I'll report it again. Go higher up. State level. Media. But I don't. Because I know how long they left me in there, just for fun. And I was one of them. Imagine what they do to someone who really talked. People think the job is about yelling into a megaphone and talking a guy out of a window. It's not. It's about time. Time matters. Every second after a gunman enters a building, odd shift. Hostages get more scared. Gunmen get more confident. Blood moves faster. And for negotiators, the longer you talk, the better your chances, unless someone built the whole scenario to make sure you don't have time. That was the problem at high-rise payday on Leland. The call came in at 3:47 p.m. on a Thursday. Busy day, streets packed. Traffic backed up from a crash near the freeway. We were already short 2 operators from training leave. Active robbery with hostages, said dispatch. 1 male suspect visible through window. AR-style weapon. 3 hostages zip-tied. He's made contact. Says he'll only speak to negotiator. I was closest. I arrived in SWAT 12 minutes later. Sirens bouncing off the strip mall walls. Payday loan place sat in a 4-business strip, flanked by a vape shop and a shuttered nail salon. Window blinds were half drawn. I could see movement behind them, pacing. I stepped out into 92-degree heat, zipped up my vest, and approached behind the Bearcat. We didn't know it yet, but the clock had already started. The man I saw through the window was mid-30s, sweat-streaked, black t-shirt, ball cap, rifle slung loose. He paced behind the hostages, 2 women and 1 man, seated and bound. I took position behind the cruiser door and opened comms. "Sir, this is Kendra with the Houston Police Department. I'd like to talk." No response for 11 seconds. Then his voice came through. "There's not enough time." I kept it calm. "We've got time. You've got control. That's good. Let's figure this out together." He stepped closer to the window and leaned in like he was inspecting something. "Not this one," he said. "Wrong lens." He was off. That much was clear. Disorganized. Delusional. Rambling about lenses and frames. Mentioned the double window, the second tape, and a sister route. But his eyes weren't frantic. His tone never spiked. He looked too calm. And that's when I felt it, the offness. His gaze kept flicking not toward the hostages, but the corners of the room. His hand wasn't on the rifle. It was near the register, like he was signaling something. I flagged it for command. Possible second party. Blind spots on interior. Send drone recon. We launched a mini drone from the back of SWAT 2. It gave us a brief thermal pass over the roof and through side vents. There was another heat signature. Second person. Static, hidden behind the drywall between high-rise Payday and the vape shop. Sniper team? I said. Negative, came the reply. No clean angle. Walls reinforced with stucco and metal. You've got to stall. So I did. I kept talking. Asked for names. Asked what he wanted. He said, "This is just the before picture. Don't focus on the before." That's when I noticed it. Behind the counter, a laptop, open and angled toward him. On screen was a timer. It read 1:19. I froze. "Command," I said. "Suspect appears to be using a countdown." I repeat, active timer in sight. "What's it for?" they asked. "I don't know," I said. "But the laptop is on. Something's about to happen." Exactly 52 seconds later, a side door in the vape shop blew outward. Flash powder. Controlled. Not enough to injure, just blind and confuse. In the same instant, the front window of the loan store shattered, not from a shot, but from inside. Diversion. By the time our team pushed in, the first suspect was dead. Shot through the head, clean entry. The hostages were gone. And the laptop? Still open. Now showing 2:11. A new timer. This one was counting up. We swept the scene. No casings except the single bullet that killed the first man. But the laptop revealed something far worse. They'd been timing us. On screen were 6 tabs. Houston PD response charts. SWAT vehicle schematics. Local dispatch tower ping times. Live traffic feeds. Precinct rosters. A folder labeled drills. Inside drills were videos. Blurry, shaky body cam clips. Not ours. Theirs. Multiple angles of simulated robberies and abandoned buildings, timestamp overlays, stopwatch beeps. Voices discussing entry times, comms delays, how long they wait to breach. It wasn't a robbery. It was a dry run. Worse, when we traced the Wi-Fi logs from the laptop, we found it had been briefly connected to our own internal training server, meaning someone had either breached our system or had access from inside. We reviewed the nearby camera feeds. 3 figures dressed like hostages walked calmly out the back alley 12 seconds after the diversion charge. They had practiced, drilled, timed their escape. The man who died inside? A sacrificial decoy. A literal stopwatch with a heartbeat. Command pulled us in the next day. Quiet meeting. No official report filed yet. They said it looked like domestic terrorism rehearsal. They didn't want media panic. But they were lying. I could tell by the way they shifted in their seats. This wasn't just one crew. It was a network. A system stress test. A real-time way to measure exactly how long we take. And our time? 2 minutes, 11 seconds. Now, I don't leave the precinct without scanning the corners. I don't trust clean hostage scenes. I don't trust perfect surrender. And sometimes I dream of that laptop screen, still ticking. Not down. Up. Because somewhere out there, they're still testing. And one day, the final test becomes the real event. The dispatcher barely got the words out before the call cut off. Female caller, crying, said someone was following her. Vehicle off-road near FM 3276, somewhere west of Bridge Hollow. GPS dropped. That was at 4:16 a.m. I was 2 towns over, finishing a noise complaint when the call came in. I clicked the lights on and took the farm roads. I figured we'd find her car nosed into a ditch. Maybe she'd had a breakdown or panic attack. But what I didn't know, what none of us knew, was that we were already too late, and we would never find her car. Her name was Alma Reyes, 24. She'd been driving from Midland to Amarillo, supposed to arrive at her grandmother's around dawn. Her route would have taken her right through our jurisdiction, past cotton fields, windbreaks, long silences between gas stations. Her cousin told us she left around 10:30 p.m., stopped once for coffee. Her final text, timestamp 3:52 a.m., just read. There's a man in a truck behind me. No lights. We searched for 4 days. Helicopter sweeps. Drones. Dogs. Nothing. Not tire marks, not glass, not even a skid. Her phone pinged once, faintly, for about 2 seconds, near a dead zone between mile marker 48 and a stretch of private ranch land known for hosting patriot camps, backwoods guys with too much time, too many guns, and a deep love for no trespassing signs. They'd called in complaints before. Claimed local cops were spying for the feds. Didn't want city types anywhere near them. I figured maybe she'd gotten scared and drove off-road to avoid them. But again, no car. No tracks. Nothing. What stuck with me was her voice on the 911 tape. She sounded scared, but not frantic. Like she knew the danger wasn't ahead, it was coming up behind her. She says he keeps flicking his brights off and on. He's not trying to pass. Just staying back. Close. Then the line goes silent. No scream. No crash. Just static. Around day 5, the sheriff called it off as unresolved missing. He said, probably ran away. Stress. Mental break. Could be halfway to Mexico for all we know. Except Alma had no passport. No priors. No known issues. And she was 5 miles from her grandmother's house when she vanished. I pushed for another round of drone passes. I asked to subpoena traffic cam feeds farther out. They told me it wasn't worth the resources. We've got no jurisdiction over ghost stories, my captain said. A week later, I got a tip from a tow driver. He said, off record, I pulled a Chevy Spark out of a fence line on McAllen Ranch. Had no plates, busted taillight, and a torn seatbelt in back. I asked what happened to it. He blinked. Wasn't logged. Sheriff told me to take it straight to impound. No paperwork. Same day it vanished from the lot. I asked which sheriff. He gave me a look like I was stupid. Yours. That night, I went back to the impound yard myself. Asked around, played dumb. No record of any spark. No body. No ticket. Then I started noticing things. Calls I made on duty wouldn't show in our system logs. My phone's call history would erase itself after midnight. One morning I found a dead raccoon zip-tied to the mirror of my cruiser. Another time, a single bullet placed on the driver's seat. No note. No prints. My shift partner, Clay, started saying things like, "You asking too many questions about the wrong people, Dani." I didn't answer him, but I stopped driving home the same way twice. Eventually, I drove out to the place the call had pinged. No official business, no dash cam. I left my cruiser behind the ridge and walked in. Wind was howling through the mesquites. I found the fence line where the signal last came through, barbed wire freshly stapled, news signs up. Private land, federal access denied. Trespassers will be shot twice. But tucked behind a rock near the base of a cedar tree, I found it. A tiny fragment of shattered phone case. Glittery pink. Scratched. The kind that clicks onto a Galaxy S10, the exact model Alma's cousin said she carried. I took it straight to evidence. 3 days later, it vanished. Chain of custody listed non-existent. They told me. Must have been a mistake. Are you sure you entered it correctly? I stopped bringing anything in after that. Months went by. No new leads. Then one morning, I passed a used car lot outside of Sweetwater and felt something cold hit my stomach. There, under a tarp, was a car with a familiar dent on the front panel. Same color. Same model. I pulled in and asked the guy about it. He said it came in through an anonymous estate transfer. Cleaned. Repainted inside. No plates yet. He offered me the keys to test it. I took them. And in the glove box, I found a single sticker tucked behind the registration. Mi abuela mi espera. My grandma is waiting for me. I tried to buy the car. He refused. Said someone already put down a payment. Said the papers were sealed. I came back the next day. The lot was closed. Fenced off. Empty. That was 2 years ago. We still say Alma Reyes vanished. But we all know what that means out here. It means someone didn't want her found. It means someone with power, with pull, decided she didn't get to finish her drive. And every time I drive that same stretch now, I look for her taillights in the dark. Sometimes I see headlights in my rear view too close, too steady, just like she described. But when I pull over, nothing behind me, just wind and silence, and the gravel shifting on the road where her car should have been. I took the job because I needed something quiet, simple, off the radar. After 20 years working narcotics and vice out of Houston, I figured I'd earned that much. The drinking had caught up with me. So had the lies. I left the badge, got clean, and figured I'd finish out my years guarding something dull, strip malls, warehouses, whatever. But then this offer came in. Private overnight security, beachside construction, no public exposure. Sounded perfect. The client was one of those faceless development groups buying up land outside Corpus Christi, promising a luxury resort for locals and elites alike. The job came with decent pay and very specific instructions. Work solo. No external comms. Patrol the full perimeter every hour on the hour. Never enter the central foundation cabin. No photos. Ever. The last part struck me as weird, but the check cleared, so I didn't argue. The site itself was isolated. 20 acres of sand and scrub. A temporary road looped around cleared construction zones. Storage units, fencing, cement mixer trailers. But at the heart of it all was a steel-paneled prefab building they called the foundation office. No windows. One door. Always locked. They said it was structural coordination storage, whatever the hell that means. First 2 weeks were uneventful. Boring, even. I did my rounds, made my check-ins on the burner phone they issued me, no screen, no GPS, and signed my logs with a black pen chained to a clipboard in the guard shack. No guests. No crews at night. Just coyotes and wind. Until the flashlights showed up. It was around 2:20 a.m. I was halfway through my third lap when I saw them. Maybe 4 men walking through the backtree line. All in black, flashlights pointed low, moving single file. Silent. They weren't carrying tools or surveying gear. No pickup trucks. No headlights. Just foot traffic, cutting across private land, headed directly toward the foundation office. I called it in on the burner. Got a text back 10 minutes later. Understood. This is internal. Resume patrol. That was it. No explanation. No backup. No names. The men entered the building. I didn't hear them speak. No light came on inside. At 3:01 a.m., they left in the same order. I told myself it was nothing. Internal audit, maybe. High-level inspection. Some NDA-protected contractor crap. But the next night, the foundation office was chained shut from the outside. The lock was new. Big. Bolted into concrete. And there were scuff marks on the sand nearby, long drag lines, like someone had been pulling something heavy from the door to the storage trailer behind it. That's when I started digging. I ran the license plate on one of the supply trucks through an old contact at DMV. It came back registered to a Civic Shell Corp, an organization that doesn't really exist, but shows up on police and contractor forms when someone wants to quietly borrow space. The kind we used when we stashed confidential informants or temporary impounds. The company's address was a P.O. box in Austin, linked to 2 people who'd once worked for DPS Internal Affairs. That's when the fear kicked in. I started checking the camera logs on site. They'd given me an old DVR system, no online storage, just local footage. Every 72 hours, it wiped clean. But on night 17, I unplugged the system before the wipe. Pulled the feed from the previous week. Backed it up onto a thumb drive I kept hidden in the lining of my glove. What I saw made my stomach twist. 3 different drop-offs. For different vehicles. 6 people, in total. All brought into the foundation office and left for hours. Only 4 ever came out. No IDs. No reports. No paperwork. No arrest logged anywhere. I tried to bring it up to my supervisor, a man I'd only ever met once in person in a rented trailer parked outside the site. I said, "Who's using this place at night? And why are we not documenting the arrivals?" He smiled. "Off the clock means off the record. That's the job." He slid a fresh envelope across the desk, an early bonus. Then he said, without looking at me, "You ever need to clear your name from something? This is the kind of favor you want in your back pocket." I wanted to quit, but something stopped me. It was the face of the third person who never came back out of that building, a woman, late 30s, curly hair, handcuffed. I couldn't forget it. She didn't look like a suspect. She looked like someone who didn't know where she was. I started documenting everything. License plates, dates, facial descriptions, physical notes. Stored them on a backup drive in my truck. 3 days later, I came out to find my glove box open and the backup drive missing. No forced entry. No damage. Just gone. That night, I got pulled over on my way home. Plain sedan. No markings. Badge flashed so fast I couldn't read the name. "Hey, Jerry," the man said. "You seen anything unusual at work lately?" I said no. He smiled, handed me back my license, and said, "Good. Stay professional." I haven't touched the footage since, but I still have the original thumb drive. It's wrapped in duct tape, hidden in the ceiling of my apartment. I moved twice last year. New name on the lease. No forwarding address. And yet, someone still leaves notes in my mailbox. Last one said, "How's the quiet life?" They think I'm too afraid to go public. And maybe I am. But one day soon, I'm going to mail that drive to someone who still believes in justice. Not because I think it'll save the woman who never came out of that room, but because someone else is working that job now. And they don't even know what's buried under the slab they walk past every hour. I used to think FTO meant field training officer. That's what they told us at the academy. But out here, on shift, on the street, it means something else. It means, figure the odds. The odds of surviving. The odds of keeping your mouth shut. The odds of getting past your first year without becoming someone you don't recognize. They gave me my number on day 1. FTO, 16. I didn't ask what happened to the other 15. I should have. My first day was humid. The kind of damp that makes your vest feel like a wet diaper before noon. I was still riding high from graduation. Buzz cut sharp, badge clean, boots shined. They paired me with Officer Kane, 6 feet 4 inches, built like a vending machine, calm voice, dead eyes. The kind of guy who didn't ask if you were ready. He just nodded once and drove. He didn't say much during the first shift. Just tapped the dash when he wanted me to check a tag. Didn't let me talk on the radio. Barely looked at me, but he had a presence. Like an undertow. Strong, silent, hard to read. Until you were already pulled in. First week was all textbook. Traffic stops, noise complaints, assisting fire. Kane ran things tight. He wasn't friendly, but he was fair. I figured I was lucky. Most rookies get babysat or hazed. Kane just let me watch. But then week 2 came, and things got strange. It started with a stop off Wayside. A guy in a beat-up Camry, expired plates. We pulled him over, and Kane told me to take lead. I went up, did the approach by the book. The guy was nervous, fumbling for his insurance. Kane was behind me, quiet, watching. The guy finally handed over his papers, and Kane leaned in and said, "Mind if we check your trunk?" No PC, no reason, no warrant. The man hesitated. Kane said, "That's fine. We'll get a dog out here. Might take a while, though. You in a rush?" I didn't say anything. The guy popped the trunk. Empty. Clean. We let him go. No citation. No dashcam marker. The entire stop disappeared. Later, I asked Kane why we didn't log it. He said, "You saw how quick he gave it up, right? That's leverage. Some people crack easy. Others need the long version." I didn't know what that meant. Not yet. Then came the warehouse. Week 3. Late shift. Kane detoured off our route, pulled behind a row of empty storefronts near Lockwood. No call came in. No bolo. Just silence. "What are we doing?" I asked. "Observation," he said. We parked behind a disused metal gate. Lights off. For 20 minutes, nothing happened. Then a black SUV pulled in. Windows tinted. 2 men got out. Kane stepped out to greet them. Not badge out. Not tense. Like it was scheduled. They talked. Exchanged something. A tablet? A flash drive? Kane returned to the cruiser like it was nothing. "Let's ride," he said. That night, he bought me tacos. "I like how you didn't ask too many questions," he said. "That's rare in a 16. I asked what that meant. "You're the 16th rookie they've given me. Most crack." I didn't eat much after that. The next few nights blurred. We'd stop cars without cause. Kane would give certain drivers a code phrase. Package dropped. They'd nod. We'd let them go. Once, we responded to a domestic call, and Kane redirected halfway, saying the couple had worked things out. I checked later. No such call existed in the log. He started calling me 16. Never Eli. 16, you drive tonight. 16, go quiet on this one. 16, don't ask. Just watch. At some point, I realized I wasn't being trained. I was being tested. I started logging everything. Names, dates, badge numbers, voice memos on a private app. I made 2 backups, one on my home computer, one on a flash drive I kept in my locker, duct taped under the shelf. But then the station logs started changing. Call times were erased. My name stopped appearing on certain dispatch sheets. I got pulled from one shift and reassigned without notice. My locker had been opened. I could tell because the duct tape was torn. The drive was gone. I asked Officer Lim, another trainee a year ahead of me, if he'd ever worked with Kane. He looked around, then leaned in. "Don't ask questions about Kane. Don't record anything. Don't think too loud." That was the last time Lim spoke to me. He transferred out 2 days later. I went to my FTO supervisor, explained that Kane was running solo calls off book, skipping logs, maybe worse. He asked, "You got proof?" I said, "No, not anymore." He said, "Then you don't have a complaint." Then he smiled, not kindly. "You're lucky, kid. Kane picks who he works with. If he chose you, that means you've got potential. Don't waste it." Now I know. Kane's not rogue. He's part of something sanctioned, or at least tolerated. A shadow protocol. Something under the badge, but over the law. They let him run tests, see which rookies follow orders, stay quiet, adapt. And the ones who don't, they're gone. Transferred. Fired. In one case, supposedly committed suicide. That was FTO 12. Now it's week 6. Kane's quieter than usual. Watchful. He started asking questions like, "If you had to delete a call, would you? What matters more, the report or the result?" He's studying me, like he's choosing. "Tonight's my final evaluation." He said, "We're taking a ride. One last call." He won't say where. He just handed me the keys and said, "You're gonna drive. I'll tell you when to stop. Then we see who you really are." I turned on my personal phone, tucked it into the dash. Audio rolling. I don't know if I'll make it through the shift clean. I don't even know what clean means anymore. But I know one thing. I'm not going to be FTO 17's lesson.